The Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, that's Matthew Kukah, has offered a critical assessment of Nigeria's leadership recruitment process, urging for reforms to address the country's deepening challenges. Speaking on Sunday at the 4th Amaka Ndomaigba Memorial Lecture in Abuja, Kukah highlighted ineffective political leadership as a major factor contributing to Nigeria's stagnant development and mounting social issues. Kukah emphasized that the nation's leadership recruitment process, largely driven by patronage and ethnicity, often results in unqualified individuals holding key positions of power. He called for a merit-based system where competence and integrity take precedence over political connections. The clergyman also pointed out that Nigeria's governance struggles are compounded by poor infrastructure, corruption, insecurity, and a failing education system, stressing the need for a new, more inclusive political culture, one that prioritizes the well-being of citizens over personal or partisan interests. For a conversation on Bishop Kukah's assessment of Nigeria's leadership recruitment process and the nation's challenges, specifically on how to improve the process and tackle the challenges, I'm now joined by Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Many thanks for being here.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here as usual.
Now, what do you make of Bishop Kukah's assessment?
Well, it's expected. But you see, you can sense some frustration in what he has said. And I admire the way he came to that conclusion, that our leaders have been accidental leaders and they have not performed. Well, that is the verdict of history. That is the verdict of history. But with the incumbent, he has not finished his tenure. He doesn't know how. So he should have delayed his assessment there. Although he said we are struggling, which is true, which is okay. But then, you see, democracy is a game of choice and acceptability or acceptance of the result. I can sense his frustration, but it's not totally apolitical. You know, in our last election, I want to go to this very candidly. Okay. In our last election, you know, we have this Muslim-Christian ticket. And obviously, the Christians did not like that, especially the Catholic Church. So he has an axe to grind with the present arrangement. Although, like he has said, democracy is not bringing food to the table, but that is globally. But then he went too far in saying that people will have perhaps have preferred people like Hitler or the apartheid regime. That is not on. It should not have said that. You see, I can compare his frustration to the frustration of the Democratic Party over the loss of the election. You see, some ladies, active women like you get me, they interviewed them on DP. Then they said, look, America should fend for itself now. That they have tried their best, you get me, to promote democracy because they were afraid that a person like Trump should not come in with that jacket. So they fought for democracy, they fought for abortion rights and all that. And they said in spite of that, they got this result. They said, no, they are not ready to die as political martyrs, that now let America face its fortune. I think Kukah too is at that level too, you get me? But we should not be frustrated. Because like I said, democracy is a game of numbers. It's a game of numbers and choice. You may not win today, you win tomorrow. You see, even in Eastern European nations, the former who are under dictatorships before, and who are now seeing that the electorate is shifting to the right. They don't like migrants. You get to now? They want to keep to themselves. People are saying that the only way you can fight them is by debunking the tools that are being used to discredit democracy. And these are disinformation, lies, impersonation, and all that. This debunk those, and then you allow people to see that if they dialogue, if they form groups, and they can make thoughtful, decent decisions that can be reflected in the will of the electorate. Because at the end of the day, election is the engine room of democracy, and that people should try as much as possible to make elections free and fair. That's election integrity. That was on test in the US, but in spite of that, you saw the result. Many people are frustrated, half the country is frustrated, but that is democracy. Get me? We must live with that here too. And Kukah's Catholic Church too must live with that here in Nigeria. Then another issue I will raise is that he's talking more like a liberation theologist. They were my heroes then in former Latin America. But then they were said to be Marxists. But he has a forefather in this sort of thing he's doing, calling us, that's Bumi Okoji, still alive, the former Catholic Bishop of Lagos. He took the military to task, especially Abacha. He called them to task. But Kukah is in a democratic setting now, and he's a participant observer. He's part of the game, so he cannot stand above the fray and be pushing at anybody. You get me? Because he's part of the audience too. Let's leave it at that for now.
Well said. I like the fact that you liken him to a liberation theologist.
Yeah.
So what do you make of this liberation theologist's recent critique of national leadership model, the model specifically, in terms of saying that the argument, in response to the argument that Nigeria's current challenges stem more from institutional weaknesses and not necessarily from individual leadership failures?
They are all the same. They are all of the above. All of the above, like the people right now. You see, we have leadership problem, obviously. Yeah. We have a leadership recruitment problem. We have election integrity problems. You get me? But you see, it is not peculiar to developing nations now, because Trump said as much, and he said it was rigged out in 2020. And obviously, if people voted him in, it means they believed what he said, contrary to what other people were saying. You see, a people, an electorate, is entitled to his choice once it had made the choice. That was why I mentioned those black African political organizers who felt frustrated that after all their hard work, how can people still pick this person? That's the beauty of democracy. And you see, it's like a sport. There must be a winner. Get me? The only thing cruel about the presidential system is that the winner takes all things. So you have to cope with this fellow for the next 4 years or for the tenure.
Yes.
Do you get me? You have to cope. That is it. And people should exhibit some temperance, some tolerance, that they have tried their best. But the final arbiter is the electorate. It is whoever they pick who is going to be in power. So let Kukah live with that, and let people pray for better election integrity, more access for people to participate, other than if you have money. You get me?
But Mr. Sobowale, that last point you made about us praying for better election integrity, is that the right move to make, as opposed to, taking actions to ensure that the elections are actually, what they're supposed to be?
Of course. If I say better, you should make sure elections are free and fair. I'm praying. That's my own personal problem, not yours.
No, not at all.
I hope.
No.
It's a matter of hope. But the essential, I'll give you another example from the US. Trump said there was rigging. I'm using this language. Yeah. He said no. But all the states in the US adjusted, re-examined their electoral processes, registration, accreditation, and all that, and set the rules right. That was why this last election brought in more people. The charge against the Democrats now is that they wanted to bring illegal immigrants to vote for them. But the Trump people are going to literally kill those immigrants now, or deport them. That is politics. You have the issues that pain you, the issues that are dear to you. You work on them and sell them to the electorate. If you sell well, they buy it. And as long as the election is free and fair, you mark Biden's words now. That he respects the choice of the people. He didn't say the crazy Trump. He said he respects the choice of the people, and that the people are entitled to their choice. That is democracy. So let Kukah too know that even though he's a priest, I admire his stance on fighting for the poor as a liberation theologian, but he's also a politician, because the Catholic Church is involved in all this right now in Nigeria. Sam?
Okay, so that's for good analysis of the political liberation theologists according to your standards.
Okay.
We appreciate your analysis as always, Arise News analyst, Mr. Dayo Sobowale. Many thanks for joining us. Thank you.